Elijah Carter sat straight in his uncomfortable chair, fighting to keep his face neutral as the Galactic Council once again listed new restrictions for humanity. The Grand Chamber, with its soaring crystal dome that displayed the stars beyond, normally filled him with awe. Today, it only made him feel small. The human expansion into the Orion sector must cease immediately, said Councillor Vexlor, the tall, blue-skinned Xorleth who led the council. His voice echoed through the chamber. Your species has already colonized 7 planets in the last Earth decade. This pace is concerning. Elijah glanced at his notes. Earth needed those planets. With 10 billion humans now living in the solar system, resources were stretched thin. The Council knew this. Furthermore, Vexlor continued, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence, all human ships must accept Council navigation systems to replace your current technology. Your independent navigation poses risks to established trade routes. Elijah stood up. This was too much. Counselor, with respect, humanity has followed every reasonable regulation since joining the galactic community. Our navigation systems have caused 0 incidents in 15 years. Murmurs spread through the chamber. The representatives of 200 alien species rarely heard anyone challenge the council leadership directly. The Xorleth's skin darkened slightly, a sign of annoyance. Ambassador Carter, the council's decisions are based on thousands of years of experience managing interstellar affairs. Your species has barely mastered faster-than-light travel. Yet we've contributed more medical and artistic advancements in 15 years than some members have in centuries. Elijah replied. He hadn't planned to be this bold, but enough was enough. Vexlor's assistant, a small green creature with too many fingers, whispered something in his ear. The Xorleth nodded slowly. The council has been patient with humanity's uniqueness, Vexlor said, but we have reached a decision. All humans engaged in interstellar travel must accept neural compliance implants within 1 Earth year, or Earth will be excluded from all council trade routes. The chamber fell silent. Elijah felt cold. Neural implants would allow the council to monitor and even influence human thoughts. They claimed it was for harmony, but everyone knew it meant control. This is not open for debate, Vexlor added. The vote has already been taken among the senior council members. Elijah gathered his materials. I must consult with Earth leadership. Back on Earth, Admiral Catherine Walsh paced the conference room, while President Gregory Martin sat with his head in his hands. The entire Earth Alliance cabinet had gathered for this emergency meeting. Neural implants are completely unacceptable, Admiral Walsh said. Her uniform was crisp despite the late hour. It would compromise not just our privacy, but our very autonomy. President Martin looked up. If we refuse, we lose access to critical resources. Medicines for diseases we can't cure. Materials we can't synthesize. Then we'll find other ways, said Walsh. Humans survived without alien trade for thousands of years. We can adapt. For 6 hours, they debated. Scientists, generals, economists all presented their views. Finally, President Martin called for a vote. It was unanimous. Earth would refuse the implants. 3 days later, Elijah Carter stood again before the Galactic Council. His voice did not waver as he spoke. After careful consideration, Earth must respectfully decline the Council's terms. Furthermore, rather than accept exclusion, we hereby withdraw our membership from the Galactic Council, effective immediately. Gasps filled the chamber. In 300 years, no species had ever voluntarily left the Council. Vexlor rose to his full height, nearly 3 meters tall. You do not understand what you are doing, Ambassador. No world can prosper alone in this galaxy. Elijah packed his diplomatic bag. Perhaps, but humans would rather face the unknown stars freely than live on our knees. He turned and walked out of the chamber, not looking back at the civilization humanity was leaving behind. As the Earth ship detached from the Council station, Elijah watched the massive structure grow smaller in the viewport. He wondered if he had just witnessed the beginning of humanity's greatest triumph or its final mistake. 6 months after leaving the Galactic Council, Earth felt the pain of isolation. Store shelves grew empty of alien goods. Hospitals ran low on medicines previously imported from across the stars. People stood in lines for basic supplies, and some began to question if leaving the council had been a mistake. Dr. Olivia Bennett stared at computer screens in her lab at the North American Science Institute. Dark circles under her eyes showed she hadn't slept properly in days. Her team of 20 scientists worked around the clock, trying to solve humanity's biggest problem, creating a new faster-than-light drive that didn't rely on council technology. "The quantum patterns keep collapsing," said her assistant, wiping sweat from his forehead. "We're missing something basic." Olivia tapped her fingers on the desk. "What if we're thinking about this wrong? The council uses tachyon folding to bend space, but what if we used quantum entanglement instead?" Across the country, General Andrew Phillips watched soldiers load new weapons onto Earth's small fleet of warships. Without council protection, pirates from non-council worlds might see Earth as easy prey. "How long will these supplies last?" he asked his aide. 2 months, maybe 3. After that, we'll have trouble defending even our home system." The general nodded grimly. "Then we better hope Dr. Bennett's team finds a solution before then." In his New York office, Vincent Powell made another difficult call. As CEO of Global Industries, Earth's largest manufacturing company, he had spent the past 15 years building his business around alien technology. Now that technology was gone. "Convert the Texas facility to produce old-style fusion engines," he told his board members. "Yes, I know they're less efficient, but we can make them ourselves." He ended the call and looked out his window at the city. Fewer flying cars moved between buildings now, as fuel became scarce. But he also noticed something new, a sense of purpose. People worked together, shared resources, and found creative solutions to problems. Humanity was adapting. In her lab, Dr. Bennett jolted upright. "I've got it." She rushed to a whiteboard and began writing equations. "We don't need to fold space like the council does. We can skip through it instead." She worked for 20 more hours straight. Her team built a small test device that looked like a metal sphere with glowing blue lines. They placed it in a sealed chamber. "If this works," Olivia told her team, "we'll have reinvented faster-than-light travel from scratch." She pressed a button. The sphere disappeared with a flash of light. 3 seconds later, it reappeared. Olivia checked the readings and began to laugh. It worked. The sphere traveled to the edge of our solar system and back. That's 10 times faster than council ships. The news spread quickly. President Martin visited the lab personally to see the new drive. "Can we build this for our ships?" he asked. Olivia nodded confidently. "We can have the first ship ready in 3 months. We're calling it Quantum Jump Drive. It's completely different from council technology. And better." That night, people celebrated in streets across Earth. Ships launched fireworks into the sky. For the first time since leaving the council, hope replaced fear. On his private yacht, Vincent Powell shared a drink with General Phillips and watched the celebrations from the Hudson River. "Do you think the council knows what we've done?" Vincent asked. The general shook his head. "They probably think we're still licking our wounds. They've always underestimated us. Should we tell them?" "No," the general said firmly. "Let them find out when our ships start appearing in systems they thought we could never reach. By then, it'll be too late for them to stop us." Far above Earth, the first ship fitted with the new quantum drive prepared for its test flight. Its captain smiled as she gave the order to launch, knowing they were about to change humanity's future forever. 2 years after humans left the Galactic Council, strange things began to happen across council space. No one expected problems. After all, humans were just one species among hundreds in the vast galactic community. But their absence was felt in unexpected ways. Council diplomat Sirach noticed it first. The tall insect-like Arvaxian stood in an empty cultural center on the Council's central world. A youth exchange program that usually hosted thousands of young aliens had only 50 attendees this year. "Where are all the students?" he asked the center director. Many planets canceled their participation, the director said with a concerned buzz of her wings. "They say without humans, the program lacks energy." Zrak had never particularly liked humans. They were loud, unpredictable, and asked too many questions, but they had brought something important to Council space: curiosity. In the Council's grand meeting chamber, representatives argued more than usual. The younger species, those who joined after humans, questioned old rules. "Why must we limit colony expansion to one world per decade?" asked the representative from Nebulon, a world that joined only 30 years ago. Humans settled 7 worlds in 10 years before they left, and their colonies thrived. The Council leaders had no good answer beyond, "That's how it's always been done." On the trade world of Xantar Prime, shops closed and businesses failed. The economy had depended on human tourists and trade. Now the beautiful floating market sat nearly empty. "We should have fought harder to keep humans in the Council," an old merchant told his friends as they closed their shop for the last time. "They bought things no one else wanted. They found value in what we considered worthless." Captain Diane Russell didn't wear a uniform anymore. After Earth left the Council, she had turned her small cargo ship into a trading vessel. She now docked at a hidden port on the edge of Council space. "I need medical supplies," she told a green-skinned trader. "Earth will pay well with our new quantum technology." The trader looked nervous. "Trading with Earth is forbidden. The Council has sanctions." Diane placed a small device on the table. "This can power your home for 10 years without recharging. Made on Earth last month." The trader's eyes widened. He pushed a crate of medicines toward her. "I never saw you," he said, "but come back next month. I'll have more goods." As Diane flew home, she passed 3 other human ships on secret trading missions. A network was forming, alien traders willing to risk Council anger to deal with Earth. On a mining world far from the Council center, things took a more serious turn. The Korvax, a species of strong reptilian miners, put down their tools and refused to work. "We demand self-rule," their leader told the Council overseer. "Humans manage their own minds. Why can't we?" "This is human thinking," the overseer said with disgust. "The Council provides protection and stability. The Council takes our resources and gives little in return," the Korvax leader replied. "We've watched Earth since they left. They struggle, yes, but they are free. We want the same freedom." When the Council sent ships to force the Korvax back to work, they found the miners armed and ready to fight. For the first time in 300 years, a member species openly rebelled against Council authority. Back in the Grand Council chamber, the Xorlath leaders held an emergency meeting. "How can one species cause so much trouble by leaving?" asked a junior council member. The oldest Xorlath, who had seen thousands of years of galactic history, looked troubled. "Humans were like a keystone we didn't know was holding different parts together. By removing them, we've disturbed a balance. Should we invite them back?" someone suggested. "They would never return on our terms," the old Xorlath said. "And I fear it's already too late. The cracks are spreading faster than we can repair them." Outside the Council building, a group of young aliens from different worlds gathered. They wore clothes inspired by Earth fashions and talked excitedly about human ideas of freedom and self-determination. The revolution had already begun. 5 years had passed since Earth left the Galactic Council. What began as quiet trading between humans and a few brave alien merchants had grown into something much bigger. A vast network now stretched across the stars, connecting Earth with dozens of worlds that questioned Council rule. Jack Harrison adjusted his worn leather jacket as he walked through the crowded spaceport on Proxima Centauri, Earth's closest colony. Once a diplomat for Earth, he now ran what many called the Liberty routes, secret trade paths that avoided Council patrols. "Your ship leaves in 20 minutes, he told a group of visitors from the cat-like Nexari species. "Keep your documents ready. Earth immigration is strict but fair." The Nexari nodded eagerly. They had traveled for weeks to reach Earth space, not for trade, but to learn. Earth had become famous for sharing knowledge without the heavy restrictions the Council placed on technology. Across the galaxy, in a dimly lit bar on a neutral world, former Ambassador Elijah Carter met with aliens from 7 different worlds. Though no longer an official diplomat, many species still sought his advice. "The Council raises our taxes again," said a blue-skinned representative from Altair. "They say it's to strengthen defenses, but we see no improvements." "They monitor our communications now," added another alien with 4 arms, "just like they wanted to do to humans with those neural implants." Elijah sipped his drink. "Earth doesn't encourage rebellion," he said carefully, "but we believe every species has the right to choose their own path." "The Council says you wish to destroy galactic unity," the Altarian said. "Yet here we sit, united without their rules," Elijah replied. "Interesting, isn't it?" On a mineral-rich world at the edge of Council space, engineer Laura Mitchell wiped sweat from her brow as she worked inside a massive mining machine. Around her, Nexari engineers watched closely. "This converter uses Earth technology," she explained. "It processes ore 30% faster than Council machines, and you can build it yourselves with local materials." The head Nexari engineer purred with satisfaction. "This will free us from Council resource quotas. We can finally build our own cities without permission." Laura smiled. She had visited 12 worlds in the past year, sharing Earth's technical knowledge. Some called it technological liberation. The Council called it sabotage. In the Grand Council chamber, tension filled the air. Reports from across the galaxy showed growing unrest. More worlds talked openly about leaving, inspired by Earth's apparent success. "This cannot continue," declared Vexilor, now Supreme Counselor. His blue skin had paled with age and stress. "Humanity has become a disease spreading through our perfect system." "Perfect for whom?" asked a younger council member, earning sharp looks from the Xorlath elders. Vexilor ignored the question. "Our investigations have uncovered a vast conspiracy. Humans have created an underground network touching at least 40 worlds. They share forbidden technology and spread dangerous ideas about independence." He displayed a galaxy map showing red lines connecting Earth to numerous worlds. "We must cut out this infection before it destroys everything we've built over thousands of years." The Council voted with a large majority. The resolution declared humanity a destabilizing influence on galactic peace that must be contained by any means necessary. As the vote passed, a young aide rushed into the chamber, breaking strict protocol. He whispered urgently to his superior, who turned pale. "What is the meaning of this interruption?" Vexilor demanded. The senior council member stood shakily. "The Korvax mining worlds have formally announced their independence from the Council. 6 other systems have joined them in a declaration of solidarity." Silence fell across the chamber. For a moment, no one spoke or moved. "Humanity has done this," Vexilor finally said, his voice cold with fury. "They must be stopped. Prepare the defense fleet. We will show them, and any who follow their example, the cost of defying the natural order." As the Council adjourned in chaos, news of their military decision raced across hidden communication channels. On Earth, President Martin received the warning with grim determination. The confrontation they had long prepared for was finally coming. The alarm sounded throughout Earth's defense headquarters. Red lights flashed as Admiral Catherine Walsh rushed to the command center. Large screens showed a frightening sight. 27 Council warships had just entered the solar system without warning. "Battle stations," she ordered. "Alert all colonies. Deploy the quantum fleet." Earth had changed in the 5 years since leaving the Council. New cities reached into the sky. Shipyards orbited the planet, building vessels with the new quantum drives. Humans had not only survived isolation, they had thrived. The Council fleet advanced toward Earth in perfect formation. Their message arrived on all channels. This is a security operation authorized by the Galactic Council. Do not interfere. We will establish an orbital monitoring position around your world. President Gregory Martin joined Admiral Walsh in the command center. They're trying to blockade us, he said. Yes, Walsh agreed. But they've never seen our new ships in action. She pressed a button, opening a channel to Earth's defense fleet. Deploy Formation Delta. Non-aggressive posture, but make clear we will defend our space. From hidden bases around the solar system, 30 sleek ships appeared suddenly, using their quantum drives to materialize around the Council fleet. The human vessels were smaller but more nimble, with smooth curves instead of the blocky Council design. On the Lid Council warship, Admiral Zex of the Xorlath stared in shock at his sensor displays. Impossible, he muttered. Their ships appear to be using some form of teleportation technology. His second-in-command looked nervous. Sir, we were told humans would have only a few outdated vessels. These ships are new and numerous. It changes nothing, Zex said firmly. Our orders remain. Begin establishing the blockade pattern. As the Council ships moved to surround Earth, tension grew. Both fleets maintained position, watching each other carefully. Then it happened. On a smaller Council ship, a young weapons officer saw one of the human vessels adjust its position. Panicking, thinking they were being attacked, he fired. The energy beam struck an Earth ship but didn't penetrate its shields. For a moment, everything froze. Hold fire, Admiral Walsh commanded her fleet. Do not return fire unless directly ordered. But the Council fleet, seeing the first shot fired, launched a full attack. Energy beams crisscrossed space. Defensive maneuvers only, Walsh ordered. Show them what our ships can do. Earth's vessels blinked in and out of existence, using their quantum drives to jump short distances, making them nearly impossible to hit. Meanwhile, their advanced shields absorbed the few successful strikes without damage. After 10 minutes of failed attacks, the Council ships paused, clearly confused by their inability to damage the human fleet. Admiral Walsh saw her opportunity. Target their weapons systems only. Disable, do not destroy. Earth's ships fired with surgical precision. Council weapons went silent across multiple vessels. Not a single Council ship was destroyed, but half their fleet could no longer fight. On his flagship, Admiral Zex received desperate messages from his captains. Retreat, he finally ordered. Return to Council space immediately. As the Council fleet turned and fled, a small autonomous drone from an Earth news agency transmitted the entire battle throughout the galaxy. The footage spread instantly, Council ships firing first, the restrained human response, and the Council's retreat. Within hours, 12 species, including the Nexari, the Korvax, and several others who had been working with humans secretly, announced their formal withdrawal from the Galactic Council. Their joint statement cited the unprovoked attack on Earth as evidence that the Council no longer acted in the interest of galactic peace. In the Council chamber, chaos erupted as news of the military disaster spread. Vexlor, the Supreme Counselor, watched in horror as representatives from traditionally loyal species demanded explanations. This was to be a simple show of force, one Council member shouted. Not an act of war against a world that clearly can defend itself. Another stood in anger. You told us humans were weak without Council support, yet they have technologies we've never seen. You've led us into disaster. As the chamber descended into shouting and accusations, Vexlor realized a terrible truth. By trying to contain humanity, the Council had exposed its own weakness. The center of galactic power for thousands of years was beginning to crumble from within. The once unified Galactic Council tore itself apart. After the failed attack on Earth, the Council split into two opposing sides. The traditionalists, led by Supreme Counselor Vexlor, believed the Council must enforce obedience at any cost. The reformists argued that the council needed to change and respect the independence of its members. What began as heated debates soon turned violent. On the council's capital world, protesters clashed with security forces. Similar conflicts erupted across dozens of planets. "The reports are coming in from all sectors," said a tired communications officer to Admiral Walsh on Earth. "It's a full civil war across council space." President Martin called an emergency meeting with Earth's leadership. "The galaxy is descending into chaos," he said. "We must decide our position. The reformists are asking for our support," General Phillips noted. "They want weapons and ships." Ambassador Carter shook his head. "The traditionalists claim we engineered this conflict to destroy the Council. If we choose a side, it will only confirm their fears." After long discussion, President Martin made his decision. "Earth will remain neutral in this conflict. We will not provide military support to either side." He paused, looking at the faces around him. "But we will offer humanitarian aid to civilians caught in the fighting. That is the human way." Dr. Olivia Bennett entered the room with excitement in her eyes. "Mr. President, my team has made another breakthrough. We've developed shield technology that can protect an entire planet. We can keep Earth safe from any attack. Can we share this technology with others?" the President asked. "Yes," she replied. "It's built on the same quantum principles as our drives. Any world with our basic technology can implement it." In the following weeks, Earth opened its doors to refugees from the Council's civil war. Aliens of all species arrived in desperate ships, seeking safety from the spreading conflict. Samuel West, Earth's relief coordinator, worked tirelessly to manage the growing refugee camps. Once a simple teacher, he now led humanity's largest humanitarian effort. "We need more housing in the Australia zone," he told his staff. "The Arvaxian refugees can't tolerate the cold in the northern camps." A young assistant looked overwhelmed. "Sir, we've received 10,000 new refugees just today. How can we possibly help them all?" Samuel placed a kind hand on the assistant's shoulder. "One family at a time. That's the only way to approach a crisis this big." As the Council's central authority collapsed, new dangers emerged. Pirates and warlords seized control of trade routes and smaller worlds. Many of these opportunists used old Council warships, either stolen or purchased from corrupt officials. One pirate fleet approached a small human colony on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. They expected an easy target. Instead, they found the entire moon protected by Dr. Bennett's new quantum shields. Their weapons couldn't penetrate the invisible barrier. "The shield is holding," reported the colony's defense chief to Earth. "The pirates are retreating." Similar reports came from other human settlements. For the first time in galactic history, colonies could defend themselves without massive military forces. Meanwhile, in what remained of the council chamber, Vexilor addressed his dwindling supporters. Many seats sat empty, representing worlds that had either joined the reformists or declared independence. "This temporary disorder will pass," he assured them. "The rebellious worlds will return when they realize they cannot survive without our leadership." An aide whispered urgent news in his ear. Vexilor's blue skin darkened with rage. "What do you mean that Thorleth colony worlds are negotiating with humans?" he demanded loudly, forgetting protocol. "Our own people would not betray us." But the truth was clear to everyone in the chamber. The mighty Thorleth, who had led the council for thousands of years, were losing their grip on their own species. The aide spoke softly. "Sir, they say human protection is more reliable than ours. They want the quantum shields." Vexilor slumped in his seat, finally beginning to understand the true extent of what humanity had unleashed across the stars. The controlled, orderly galaxy he had known all his life was gone forever. 10 years had passed since Earth left the Galactic Council. The galaxy looked very different now. Where once a single authority ruled, many independent worlds charted their own paths. Some still suffered from the ongoing Council civil war, but others found new prosperity through cooperation. In the great hall of what was once a Council outpost, representatives from 35 species gathered. The building had been redesigned, with a circular table replacing the old tiered seating that had placed the council leaders above everyone else. Ambassador Rebecca Lloyd of Earth stood to address the gathering. Her simple blue uniform contrasted with the elaborate clothing worn by some of the alien delegates. "Friends, we have come together not to create a new council, but something better," she said. "The Alliance of Independent Worlds will be built on 3 principles: respect for sovereignty, mutual defense, and beneficial trade." A delegate from the lizard-like Korvax spoke next. "Under council rule, my people were only allowed to be minors. Now we have universities, art centers, and our own spacecraft designs. We support this alliance." One by one, representatives voiced their support. Unlike the old council, where the founding species held permanent power, each world in the alliance would have equal standing. "The humans could have established themselves as the new leaders," said the Nexari diplomat, her fur neatly groomed for the occasion. "Instead, they offer true partnership. This is why we trust them." As the alliance charter was signed, celebrations began on dozens of worlds. On Earth, Jack Harrison watched the ceremony on a view screen. The former smuggler now served as Earth's trade minister. Next to him sat Olivia Bennett, whose quantum technology had changed the galaxy. "Did you ever imagine this when we left the council?" she asked. Jack shook his head. "I was just hoping we'd survive." He gestured at the screen showing celebrations. "This is beyond anything we could have dreamed." Not everyone celebrated the new alliance. In a heavily guarded stronghold on a distant world, the remaining traditionalist council members plotted their response. Vexlor, now aged and bitter, addressed his followers. "This human-inspired rebellion must be crushed. The Korlath have guided the galaxy for thousands of years. Without our wisdom, chaos will destroy everything." Grand Arbiter Krell, his military commander, bowed. "Our loyal forces are ready, Supreme Counselor. We have gathered 40 warships for a decisive strike." "Against Earth?" asked another council member. "Yes," Vexlor said firmly. "Cut off the head, and the body will die." "All our problems began when we allowed humans to leave the council rather than forcing them to comply. We will correct that mistake." Their spies had discovered a weakness. Earth was hosting a diplomatic event with representatives from across the new alliance. Most of Earth's defense fleet would be participating in a ceremonial display, their weapons powered down. "The attack must be swift and overwhelming," Krell said. "Once Earth falls, the alliance will crumble." What the council loyalists didn't know was that Earth had expected such an attack for years. When their fleet appeared near Earth, sensors detected them immediately. Admiral Walsh calmly gave orders from her command center. "Spring the trap." As the council fleet approached Earth, alliance ships hidden behind the Moon and Mars revealed themselves. The council vessels found themselves surrounded by a force 3 times their size. From ships representing 20 different alliance species, a single message broadcast to the council fleet: "This attack violates all principles of galactic law. Surrender immediately." On his flagship, Grand Arbiter Krell realized they had made a terrible miscalculation. The humans had not only built their own power base, they had united the galaxy in a way the council never could. "We have failed," he told Vexlor via emergency communication. "The Earth is not alone. The entire alliance defends it." Vexlor's image showed shock and disbelief. "This cannot be. No species would sacrifice themselves for another." "Look at the sensor readings," Krell replied. "Ships from every alliance world stand against us. They fight as one." As the council fleet surrendered, the last hope of restoring the old order faded. The galaxy had truly changed forever. 20 years had passed since humanity walked away from the Galactic Council. The Grand Council headquarters, once the center of power for the entire galaxy, now served a different purpose. Its vast halls had become a museum, where visitors from hundreds of worlds came to learn about the past. Frank Hayes, a human curator, led a group of young aliens through the former council chamber. The tiered seats where rulers once issued commands now held interactive displays. This was where the Thorleth sat, Frank explained, pointing to the highest platform. For over 3,000 years, they believed they alone knew how to manage galactic affairs. A small blue child raised a tentacle. Why did they think that? Frank smiled. They lived longer than most species, up to 500 years. They thought this made them wiser than everyone else. The group moved to a new exhibit showing images of Earth ships leaving Council space. When humans refused neural implants and left the Council, no one expected much to change. Frank continued. But sometimes removing a single piece can cause an entire structure to collapse. Across the galaxy, prosperity had spread in ways the Council never achieved. Without restrictions on technology sharing, medical advances reached frontier worlds that had been neglected for centuries. Art and music from different species blended into new forms. Trade flourished without the heavy taxes the Council had imposed. At the University of New Mars, Professor Daniel King taught a class on interstellar history. Students from 30 different species filled the lecture hall. The Council system was inherently unstable, he explained, because it relied on forcing compliance rather than building genuine cooperation. When humanity left, the suppressed tensions surfaced all at once. A student raised her hand. But wouldn't the collapse have happened eventually, even without humans leaving? Daniel nodded. Perhaps, but it might have taken centuries more of suffering. Humans acted as a catalyst for change that was already needed. Even the Thorleth, once the proud rulers of the galaxy, had changed. Their homeworld had initially isolated itself after the Council's fall. But as their economy suffered, they were forced to reconsider their place in the new galactic order. On Earth, President Martin, now elderly and retired, received an unexpected visitor in his modest home. A Thorleth diplomat named Zor, younger than most of his kind, bowed respectfully. Former President Martin, my government has sent me to request something we never imagined we would need: Earth's help. Martin invited the visitor to sit. How can Earth assist the Thorleth? Our young are restless. They see the prosperity of the Alliance while our traditions keep us isolated. We need guidance on how to adapt without losing our identity. Martin smiled gently. The irony isn't lost on me. You once feared human influence would destabilize the galaxy. And we were right, Zor admitted. But we were wrong to fear it. The destabilization was necessary. The greatest symbol of the new era came 1 month later, when Earth hosted the first Galactic Arts Festival. The grounds of the old United Nations building in New York, filled with displays from over 100 worlds. Music, paintings, sculptures, and performances showcased the rich diversity of galactic culture. Catherine Walsh, now retired from military service, walked through the festival with Elijah Carter, the former ambassador who had announced Earth's departure from the Council 20 years earlier. Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this? She asked him, gesturing at the joyful crowds of humans and aliens mingling freely. Elijah watched a group of Thorleth youth performing a dance they had created by blending their ancient traditions with human hip-hop. I hoped we'd survive, he said. I never dreamed we'd thrive like this, or that we'd help create something better than what we left behind. Catherine smiled as fireworks filled the sky, launched by ships from a dozen worlds orbiting Earth. The Council thought they were removing a problem when they pushed us away, she said. They didn't realize we were actually a solution. As night fell on Earth, similar celebrations lit up the skies of hundreds of worlds across the Alliance. The galaxy had not ended when the Council collapsed. It had been reborn.